Recently, you encountered kidnappers.
Yes.
You were kidnapped.
Yes.
Can you tell us the story?
Okay. I I own a farm in Lalate town. That's Ibarapa East local government of Oyo State. And so it was a Friday. I go there Mondays to Fridays. Myself and my fiancé. My fiancé also manages a processing factory not too far from my farm. And but I have a house on my farm, so he has a room in my farm. We stay there. So he goes to his own place, comes to my place to stay, and then on Friday we come to Ibadan together. And so we were coming back home that day. The farm to Lanlate town is about an hour drive, between 45 to an hour drive, and then we were coming back when I think we were almost at the town when all of a sudden I just saw that
Almost at what town?
Lanlate town.
So your farm is how many hours drive from
About an
Lalata?
hour.
About an hour drive.
From Lanlate.
So on getting to the town, what happened?
Almost to the town. We're not in the town yet.
Okay.
Almost to the town. That was because I was not feeling fine. I was sick, so I took some drug. So I reclined my chair so I could sleep. Although I was in the front with him, he was driving, and I saw that he swerved. So I raised up my head and I saw that Fulani guys.
Did you say Fulani?
Yes, they were Fulani. They were dressed as Fulani. So, and they were armed. They had cutlass, and then they wanted us to stop. So they swerved and tried to outrun them. So I was hoping we could escape. So we left those ones, and we didn't know there was another one in the front again, who was probably waiting for us, anticipating that we might make a run for it. And that was how he shot into the car.
He shot into the car.
He shot into the car. And that went straight and hit my fiancé on the head, at the back of his head. And I don't even know. It was so fast. I didn't even know what to do for a while because the blood was rushing out of his head. You know, I still see that a lot of times.
You see the picture a lot of times?
Yeah.
When the bullet struck him,
Yeah.
what did you do?
Yeah. I was trying to see if I could save him, if I could apply pressure to stop the blood from flowing.
Did the blood stop flowing?
I couldn't even do that because I noticed the car was about to, it lost control, so I noticed the car was about to hit a tree. So I decided to put it
The
in.
car was still in motion.
It was still in motion, but it already swerved to the bush because it was a forest, like the middle of the forest. So I got the car to stop, and before I could do anything for him, they already met up with us. So they opened the car and pulled me out.
How many of them?
4 of them. There were 4 of them. So he pulled me out. They were angry because we did not stop, and then they tried. They were angry, so one of them even wanted to machete me. That, why didn't you stop? Did you want to hit them? You know. So I was.
Were they speaking English?
Yoruba.
Were they speaking Yoruba?
Yeah, but it wasn't a smooth Yoruba because it's not their language, obviously. So they started shouting for me and all that. So
As they were shouting, what did you do?
I was still in shock about the shot. So I was just saying, Jesus, Jesus. And then by the time they pulled me out, kicking me and all, I was just, okay, I started begging them and all. So
Did they see that your boyfriend was going through pain?
They didn't even, They didn't pause. I know they saw it. They didn't, but they didn't. That did not stop them. They didn't pause to even look at him.
No attempts to even help him?
No, nothing.
They were more interested in you?
In me, getting me and all. They didn't even pause. Just pulled me out, and I was just begging them. And so they got me and then took me into the bush and told me to start running. So after a while, they asked me to bring my hand and tied a rope on my hand. So there was one in the front, one was using the rope to pull my hand. There was another one at the back that was hitting me anytime I slowed down, because I guess they wanted to leave the scene as soon as possible.
This time you guys were in the forest?
We were in the forest.
Running in the forest?
Running in the forest, yeah. So we just kept on running and running and running. And anytime I slowed down...
Walking or running?
We were running. They wanted to leave that place as soon as possible. I think that's the reason. So they didn't even allow me to slow down. I told them I wasn't feeling fine. The drug I took, I had catarrh, I had malaria. The drug I took Actifed. So my throat was really dry. At the time I slumped down, they pulled me up again and they were beating me. So I just had to summon that strength to run with them, because I saw they were determined to get out of that place. So when we were running, it was getting late, because I think we left the farm around 4, so it would be around 5 o'clock when that happened. So when it was getting dark, I was asking for water, because I was thirsty with the running and then with the drug I took. At this time it had rained.
It had rained?
Yes.
So when it was raining?
We were still running.
Still running in the rain?
Yeah, we were still running all through. Still running. So I was asking for water. They said there was no water. And then later we just got to a puddle of water, rainwater that was just flowing, and they asked me to drink. I didn't have a choice because I was thirsty. You
drank?
I had to drink it. I was just praying as I was drinking it that it will not have any bad effects.
Around what time did they stop the car?
That would be around 5 o'clock.
5 p.m.? 5
p.m., yes.
So by the time you were in the forest, it was already getting dark?
Yes. Yes.
You spent the night in the forest?
All through. I think we ran almost all through the night. We ran almost all through the night. It was because for days I was still limping. We ran almost all through the night.
No sleep?
We got to a place and then we slept. But definitely I couldn't sleep.
When you say you slept, how?
That means that we were all sitting down to rest. So some of them were sleeping, some took turns.
And your hands were still tied?
Of course, all true.
All true?
Yeah, so by the time we were going to rest, they made me, they blindfolded me. So I wouldn't see them.
So you never saw their faces?
No, I didn't really see their faces. They warned
you not to look up?
Yes. In fact, before we got to that place, there was a time because, we got to a road. We got to a road and then we had to stop for a while to allow the traffic go down. So, I don't know, maybe they didn't have a cloth at that time. So they made me lie down, face down. So I wouldn't look up. So when the traffic went down, there wasn't much movement. Then we continued. So when we got to that spot where we were going to sleep, we just sat down. Some were taking watch, they blindfolded me to make sure I wasn't going to look at them. They didn't put on the torchlights. They were just running through the bush.
But they had torchlights?
They had, but they didn't put it on. So we were just walking through the bush. So when it was 6 o'clock, they took the phone. Okay, while we were coming, they already took my phone away from me and threw it away. Then I didn't know that they had picked my fiancé's phone from the car also. So they asked me to open it. I said I couldn't. And so when it was 6 o'clock, they removed the SIM, and I guess I didn't even know that that was just because I knew they destroyed it to remove the SIM. So I thought probably they didn't want, the phone will have a location, a GPS to track. So, but they destroyed it completely and made sure it was disposed on the way. But they removed the SIM. So apparently they had inserted the SIM in their own phone. So when it was 6 o'clock, they asked me to call my parents and tell them that they were demanding for 50 million naira for me to be released. So I called my dad, and he also was begging them 50 million. How? He was trying to plead with them, and they just told him if he wanted to see me alive, he had better find it. So they ended the call. Then we started the journey again.
How did they sound when they were talking to your dad? Were they brutal?
Yes, they were.
Mannerism?
They very, 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 very. They were just.
They spoke English to your dad or Yoruba?
No, Yoruba. They were speaking Yoruba to me, but they had a language they were using to communicate within themselves.
They had a language?
They had a language they were communicating.
And you don't know that language?
No, I don't. I don't.
So when you say they are Fulani, how did you arrive at that?
Okay, so I farm in a place where we have a lot of Fulanis around. We have Fulani settlers also. They live there. So a lot of them have been living there for like 15 years. Yeah, so familiar with them. They have cattle. And the only thing we always have issue with is their cattle coming to the farm. And then sometimes we have to take them to the police station. In fact, they just had an agreement. We just made them write an agreement that if they allow their cattle into our farm again, they were going to leave that place permanently. So I'm familiar with them. I mean, you see them around all the time. So that was like, so they were dressed like them, they looked like them.
During the process of running in the forest, did you cross a river?
Yes. So that morning when we moved again, because they didn't want to stay in a single location, so we started the journey again, and then we were running, and then, it had rained. So the rain started and ended while we were there, no shelter, nothing. So when we got to a particular point, the river was, it was really, really, the current was heavy. And so one of them went through it first. And then, of course, I was shorter than them. So he went there, and then they told me to also come around. I was really scared.
How did you walk through that river? Your hands up?
My hands were still tied.
My hands were tied as you walked through the river?
My hand was still tied. So one of them just held on to that rope in the front and was pulling me, because I was really scared, because it came up to here when we were passing. So we had to go through it, and then so they were pulling me like that to the other side. We got to the other side.
Did they beat you in the forest?
The only time they beat me was when anytime I slowed down. There was always one at the back. So the one in the front, once I slow down, we just give that command to the one at the back that I was not cooperating. Then that one would just hit me to make me walk faster and run.
At a point, did you have any conversation with them in the forest? Did you ask them why they do what they do?
Yes. After talking with my dad, they made sure they told him to get the money, and he said, okay, he was trying, he was working on it. So probably knowing that the money was coming got them to kind of relax a little. And because we stopped in more than, like 3 places where we sat down waiting for them to call back or to call them. I was the one that is always calling back because I was really anxious for them.
Wanted to leave.
Yes. So I was the one doing the calling, actually. And the most time we stay in places where there is no network. So even if they want to, they will not be able to reach us until I ask them to call. And so when we sat down, and that was when they were telling me that they don't have cattle. They don't have cattle. The only thing they do is to kidnap for money. All they want was money. That was when they were telling me that next time when you see robbers, you stop, don't run. That what they want is just money. I should just have stopped, And even one of them was even telling me later that he said it in Yoruba that you're magbakadara, like you just have to take fate as it comes, And now I think about it, probably they were thinking about my fiancé, because they were telling me that I should just take it that is how sometimes life happens, like that.
So at this time they had human face.
Yes. Not all of them. It was one of them that was telling me that I should just take life as it came, that they also are just trying to make a living because Nigeria is difficult and all that. So they are also trying to make money and all. So
at what point did your dad come? At what point did your dad come into the forest?
Yeah, so when it was about 4 o'clock, because they wanted to leave that area. I think there was a time
4 o'clock the next day?
Yes, that's 4 p.m., yes. At the time, I think they received a call. They were telling me that, so your parents have alerted the security forces, the vigilante, and all that. The vigilante, they know that the vigilante is looking for them. So I better call them and warn them that if they get anybody involved, they will not see me alive. So I called him at that time and warned him.
You warned your dad?
I had to warn him. I've seen them kill, so they could. And then when it was getting to about that, so they were anxious. I guess that was why they were anxious to leave. They wanted to leave. So when it was that 4 o'clock, they called him. He was still begging them that it was a Saturday. No one keeps cash in the house. He has tried to transfer money to different people so that they could use ATM to withdraw money. But, the limit is about 100,000 naira. So how many people do you want to transfer to even raise that kind of money? Nobody keeps money in the house. So they was trying to explain to them, to beg them that, he's retired. He's not working. How is he going to raise money and all that? So at that time, they became frustrated because we have been waiting since 6 a.m.
And you haven't eaten at this time?
No, I hadn't.
You were not hungry?
My mind was to get out. They offered to give me food, actually. They offered.
From where?
Okay, one of them went to get food for them.
Okay.
Yeah, one of them went to get food for them. So they offered to buy me rice, but I told them I wasn't.
So they know that environment?
They know. Because they knew where to go to get food.
Mm.
Yes, they knew where to go. And they knew where to go to because it was dark. No torchlight, and they still knew where they were going. We crossed that river because they knew they had to be on the other side. So I think they knew where they were going. Mm. They were familiar with the environment. So yeah. Got food. So when they pestered me, I told them to get me bread, but I was even scared that probably they could have even poisoned it or something. So I wasn't ready to eat, anything and all. So that 4 o'clock when I called my dad, I could sense their frustration because one of them shot at me to get my dad's attention because he felt my dad was just taking them for a ride.
So, can you describe that scene?
Yeah, he asked my dad. My dad was still begging, and he became so angry that you mean since 6 a.m. since morning you have not done, and then he just raised the gun and just shot.
What kind of gun are we talking about here?
It's a very long one.
Okay.
The long gun, something like the hunters will hold.
Mm.
Yeah, something like that. I had mustered up courage when they kidnapped me, that, and made up my mind that by God's grace I was going to get out alive. So I was trying to be courageous all through the experience. I was, doing everything to cooperate with them, not to get them angry. But when they made that shot,
it scared the living daylight out of you.
oh my God. I mean, I've seen the shot to my fiance's head. I've seen how in just a few seconds, so when they shot at me, it was like, So I've seen what the gun could do. So I was really, really scared at that time. I was begging my dad that, what, anybody just, I was almost like telling him that even if you can go enter the road and just be asking anybody for cash, just try and waste this guy's money, because they were desperate to live at that time. And they were also telling me then that if they don't bring it, they can equally kill me and get buyers for the body.
Buyers for the body.
That was what they said. That there are people who buy the head, body parts.
So they sell body parts.
I mean, I don't know why they would say that, but that was what they said, that if he doesn't do that, that they have nothing to lose, that they will still make their money.
So at what point did your dad get to the location?
That was around 9 p.m. He got to Erua around 9 p.m. and then he called them. So 3 of them left.
He came alone?
He came, yeah, they told him to come alone, not to come. And even I myself warned him not to try to bring anybody with him, So so 3 of them went to meet him. They left me with 1 of them. So he later told me that they asked him to go to like 3 different locations. He didn't see them. He said he was on the phone talking to them. They told him to tell him to go somewhere. Then later they will ask him to go to another place. Just
so he was just moving
around. Then at the end of the day, probably I guess they were trying to see if he was being followed. So later they told him to park somewhere and just drop the money there, and then told him to move ahead. Told him to stay and a place where he should stay. So I think they picked up the money and all. So the other guy, the one that was with me, got a call and said we can
So
move.
3 of the guys went to pick the money?
Yes. So it was only one that was left with me.
Did you ever think of running away?
Of course, I did. I was, when they first picked me, I was even looking out, like trying to mark the road that, okay, so that if I'm able to escape, I'll be able to run back. I was hoping I would get a chance to run. If a lot of times the rope they tied, I would try and remove it so that it would be easy for me to loosen myself. And anytime they saw that, it was getting them angry. Oh, you want to escape? And then they would tighten it and make it tighter. But later, I was praying and hoping I would get a chance, saying, God, please just give me a chance to escape. And later I just said, wait, let me even pray about it and know how God wants to get me out of it. Like I said, I was determined I was getting out alive. And God told me, your life is more important. Just let them have the money.
So you decided against escaping?
So I decided because, I was always at the middle, 2 in the front, 2 at the back. And they never let down their guard. So, they had 2 guns. So 1 at the front, 1 at the back. So I knew that if I made a run for it, it would be easy for them to just shoot me. So that was when I just left it and just...
So when they collected the money, at what point did they release you?
Yeah, you got a call that the money has been, you should bring me. So we started trekking. I didn't even know that it was such a long distance from where he was also. So I guess they were just trying to be careful, in case there was a police on it. So it was a long distance from where they collected the money, because it took me around 15 minutes to get to where my dad was. So he walked me down. So they told him to put on his headlight. So when we got to a point where I could see it, he asked me to go on.
So while you were walking, did you feel they were still trailing you?
Yes, because at the time, the one that was with me, I was asking him, are they going to hurt my dad? I hope they're not going to hurt my dad.
You were speaking Yoruba to him?
Yes. And he was like, I think that was the one that was, I think, a little bit sane among them. And he was like, no, we are not God. We also know that there is God. We can't just be killing like that, you know. He was one that wasn't talking all through, you know. I didn't even see his face at all. It was always at the back. And he was like, no, don't worry. We're not going to kill you. We're not going to kill you too. You know, reassuring me we're not going to kill you. Don't worry, you're going to get back to your family today. I know. But when we got to the other three, on the way, I saw that some of them were sitting down somewhere. I guess they were counting the money. I saw them sitting down, I know. So one of them, he joined them, and another one was the one that now took me to go and meet my dad. So because he was carrying a gun, so I was like, why didn't he ask the one that was carrying a gun to be the one to lead me? So I was really conscious. So when he said I should go ahead, a lot of times I would still look at the bag there. I hope he has not changed his mind because they already collected the money. So I was really scared. I hope they have not changed their mind. I hope it's not that they asked me to go and then I hear something at the back and they shot and all. So I ran. I made a run for it. When I saw his car, it was like running to freedom, you know.
So did you hug your dad?
Of course, I was like, Daddy, I'm seeing you again.
Oh.
I'm seeing you again. You know, that was the thing that I was saying. When I even got home, saw my siblings, my sister, I was like, I see everybody again. My life. I didn't die. I made it. I saw everyone again.
At this time, did you know your fiancé was dead?
No. I was actually praying all through the night that he will not die. I was praying. So I was asking my dad, even when I was making the call for the ransom, I was always asking, but they gave me any answer.
Did you discuss
I did.
with the kidnappers?
Yes, I did.
And
especially with the one that I said was a little bit sane. I was asking him that did you see where he was shot? Did you see where the gun hit him? Does he have a chance? You know, I knew it was at the head, you know, at the back. But I was hoping probably, I don't know, I was just hoping for a miracle. That I was asking, do you think he's going to make it? And he said, yes, that he saw, you know, he looked back and he saw that people were already helping him. You know, they were already taking him to the hospital, so that he was going to make it. You know, that kind of gave me a kind of false hope, a hope that he will be okay. In fact, when I was coming, I asked them to give me a SIM because I was thinking he won't have to be going through the stress of having to retrieve his line and all that.
Did they give you the SIM?
Yeah, they gave me. They gave him the SIM, you know, I guess to make sure that they won't be able to be tracked, you know. So I collected his SIM and went from. So I didn't know. I asked my dad when we got into the car, and he said, "Oh, he's in the hospital. That he's not speaking yet. He's still not talking." He said, "No problem." So when I got home, everybody was happy to see me. That was around 11:30 p.m. You know, everybody was happy to see me. You know, they were crying and all that. So I asked about him again. She said he was okay. But then I felt, who is with him in the hospital? Everybody is here. So we're staying with him in the hospital. Is the parents around? They said, no, the parents are not around. So who is with him in the hospital? They said he's fine. He's still not talking. So but I saw that even though they were happy, they were still, they were not as happy as, or they were not expressing that joy as much as they could. So that was when I took my sister. I went inside, to freshen up. I called my sister. I knew my sister, so I pressed her, to get her to talk. She couldn't say it. She just burst out crying. So that was when I knew that
he was dead.
He was dead.
He has been buried, right?
Yeah.
Sad.
Sad because I think the most painful part is that he had dreams.
His dreams are gone.
he saw agriculture, he embraced it.
He was a farmer.
He wasn't until then, until a few months ago.
You got him interested in farming?
And he embraced it. You know, if someone who grew up in Lagos and he didn't mind living in the bush.
He wanted to produce food for us.
It was painful.
Yeah, sorry.
The dreams, the aspirations, the plans.
We're going to get married.
Yeah, December.
December.
In fact, on the Saturday, we were supposed to go to his parents' place. That's the most painful part, really. That for what? Because some people want the money. It's just kill the dream.
But Modupe will remain a farmer.
Yeah, because you know, if you're traveling now, do you see the land? We import a lot of food into this country, a lot. And that was what got me interested. Why do we import when we can produce what we're importing? You're traveling, is just forest everywhere. It's land. We have the ability, we have the environment, we have everything we have to produce what we eat. So that's the dream that one day, not only are we going to be self-sufficient in food production, we produce enough to feed ourselves, but the world population is also growing. Africa is growing, and you know, and the prediction is that by 2050, if nothing is done about food production, there will be food security. I mean, there will be food insecurity. So not only do we have to feed ourselves, we have to feed the world. The population is growing. 60% of arable land is in Africa. Of the whole, 60% of arable land in the whole world is in Africa alone.
And young persons like you decided to plunge in.
We have.
You're a graduate, right?
Yes, I'm a graduate. He was also a graduate. My staff, all of them, we have masters holders.
Young graduates.
Young graduates.
Farming.
Yes. You know, when this happened, a week after, they were back on the farm.
And Modupe is back on the farm too.
Yes.
You got the courage to go back to your farm.
For a long time, that fear was there. That fear was there. The fear, anytime I just think about going. But I realized something. It wasn't the farm itself that was scary. It was the road to the farm.
The road to the farm.
Not the farm.
Road, right?
It's a lonely road.
Is there security around those areas?
No security.
No security?
Nothing.
No government present in form of security?
Nothing. So I think that was what made me realize, okay, it's not really the farm that is carrying me, it's the road.
The road to the farm.
So on Monday I made up my mind I was going to go to the farm. But I turned back on the way. I lost courage at the last minute and just turned back. So my mom decided that, okay, she was going to go with me.
Your mom wasn't scared?
Yeah, I guess maybe she was, and she was just trying to put up a trophy because I think they know how passionate I am about this. They know I've always talked about it. I've been doing this for like about 6 years now, and they knew how I started. I started with just 1 acre. The farm is about 1,000 hectares now.
You have 1,000 what?
Hectares.
Hectares.
So they knew how I started. So they were encouraging me not to give up on my dreams.
And you're not giving up?
No, I won't.
You've gone back to your farm?
I went back. I got back to, I got to the sports. Thank God she was there. And I just realized that, I just kept on realizing and asking myself.
You got back to that sport?
Yes.
Did you come down?
No, I didn't.
Where's the car? Is the car still at that spot?
No, I've sold the car.
You sold the car?
I've sold it.
You're not going to be...
I can't.
You didn't want to sell the car again?
I didn't. I've not sold it. I've just sent it to the mechanic to sell. And, when I pass through that road, anytime I see something just come out of the forest on the road, I get jittery, I get scared. See Fulani, I get scared. And I realized that maybe with time though, but I'm not sure I will ever get over it.
Do you have a message for the governor of the state, Makinde?
Yes. There's so much talk about agriculture, There's a lot of people who are interested in coming into agriculture. I've always said it that it's not the job of government to provide jobs, but to create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. And businesses will create the job. And I think creating an enabling environment, providing security on the road, is a way to create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. I thank God for the grace of God, the Spirit of God in me that is giving me the courage, because I know that's why I have the courage. Like I said, when I passed and realized I won't get over it, but I'll move on with it. I'll move on.
You reported to the police, right?
Yeah, I did. So I think governments really need to work on that security. So many people are also interested in coming. A lot of people have abandoned their farms.
Did you see they've abandoned their farms?
Yes.
Why?
When you're not sure, yes, I'm back. But do you realize that all through my stay there, I was living in fear? Yes, I was on the farm. I moved around. I was living in constant fear all through. Even when I was coming back, I took longer, scared. And this cannot go on. I have some members of my staff that have not been able to come. Their parents will not release them because they're scared. And I don't blame them. You train up a child, he's a graduate, and then, so I don't blame them. So they really need to do something about the security, because, what gave me the courage to come out is that it happened a few days after to two other people. One from the same town, another in another neighboring town. And I realized that everybody kept quiet. And I realized it's like keeping quiet is putting ourselves under the oppression. I'm like, maybe the government does not know about it.
So you need to speak out.
We need to speak out.
Thank you for speaking out.
Thank you.
Sorry for the pain.
Thank you.
Modupe has spoken out. Modupe has expressed her pain. Modupe just told us a story of insecurity on the road to the farm. If we abandon the road to the farm, no one will get to the farm. If we don't get to the farm, no one will till the soil. If no one works on the farm, hunger takes over the land, and chaos becomes the name of the game. Are we saying we should abandon the farm? Are we saying we cannot secure the road to the farm? Hey, somebody died in this encounter. Modupe's fiancé is no more. It is kidnapping from the south to the north. Have we not reached the point to say enough is enough? Do we have to wait for another Modupe to be kidnapped? It's teaching time. 6-9. I am Edmund Obilo.